How's it going, everyone? Welcome to a brand new video on DC Universes and, well, now the CW Stargirl, because there's quite a bit of new updates to go over in today's video that include some exciting details about the show that I'm sure a lot of you will appreciate and come to look forward to seeing yourself, which includes potential crossovers with the CW's Flash, which you may or may not have heard about already. There's also teases of a certain Flash and Green Lantern's involvement in the Stargirl show, as well as the villain roster we will be seeing and a whole bunch more. So of course, guys, we need to break this down. Now, this article comes from IGN, where they did have the opportunity to speak to both Garrick Flash and Geoff Johns, where they revealed all of these exciting details on the upcoming show. Also, just to let everyone know, I've said this a few times in my live streams, which I'm doing every other day at the minute, especially during this lockdown period, but when talking about Stargirl, and just in case you aren't aware, I have been given access to watch the first 3 episodes of Stargirl, so expect a non-spoiler review for that on April 21st, as that is the date of when the embargo lifts. But don't worry, I will still be going over the first episode when it officially releases on May 18th. It was going to release on May 11th, but it's been pushed back to May 18th, so I'll go over that in a regular, in-detail spoiler breakdown, as I usually do with the other shows that I cover. Same with episode 2 and 3, and from there on out. But this will just be my non-spoiler insight and review into the first 3 episodes of Stargirl, which should give you guys a really good idea of how I feel about the show, and also just how I think you guys might receive the show as well. So keep an eye out for that, April 21st. So first of all, what I want to tackle with the information we got from this article is the potential crossover with the CW's Flash. So as we all know, from the end of the Arrowverse's Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover, towards the very end, we did get to take a peek of the multiverse that is actually still out there, or should I say, a new multiverse that the Spectre kind of helped give birth to, even though the way I phrased that does sound very weird. So even though currently on the shows, most if not all characters are all kind of the mind that there isn't a multiverse anymore. However, I'm sure at some point they're going to figure that out, possibly sooner rather than later. However, we know that Stargirl's Earth is now the new replacement Earth 2, quite literally a whole new Earth 2 to the one that we've previously seen in the Arrowverse. So with Stargirl, and as IGN put it here, it's become the series that bridges the CW's lineup shows with the DC Universe streaming shows, and according to Geoff Johns, that arrangement wasn't planned from the start, but only came about after production had wrapped on Stargirl Season 1, and that's when Mark Pedowitz from the CW saw an opportunity after looking at some of the footage. Now, you may know this or not, but this was pretty much known already. Originally, Stargirl wasn't intended for the CW, and as they state here, that was the case, but as Geoff Johns said, that it meant more people would see it ultimately, and that Stargirl and the show has always been for everybody. Anyone can watch it, so it fits nicely to that world. It fits nicely to things like The Flash. And I agree. If, out of Titans, Doom Patrol, and now Stargirl on DC Universe, if there was one show that would fit into the CW's tone, it would for sure be Stargirl. And as Geoff Johns explains in this interview as well, he describes the Stargirl series being very similar in tone to classic 80s movies like E.T. and Back to the Future, which is something that I definitely wouldn't liken to the more adult tone of Titans or Doom Patrol. But this is where things get even more interesting, as this is where Garrick Flash, who plays Courtney Whitmore, aka Stargirl in the show, said that they have actually already had some preliminary discussions about a Flash and Stargirl crossover. So this is what she had to say. There have been talks of Stargirl getting to go on an episode of The Flash and having a bigger storyline, but it didn't happen this season. I just think that it would be the coolest thing. So much of my family has watched Flash for years. Now, to me, that's very, very interesting to hear, but at the same time, I'm not all that surprised, because as I've already mentioned, the whole reason that this is on the CW is that it really suits the demographic the Arrowverse has, and in so doing, this talk of a crossover isn't really like a otherworldly idea. I mean, I can really see a Flash crossover happening really, really well, to be honest. And as for how this could happen, well, I mean, the storyline could be written in a whole bunch of ways, but with the Flash, it's probably probably the easiest with Barry and the Speed Force, likely allowing him to somehow pop up on Stargirl's New Earth 2, although I do think it would be pretty awesome to see Brec Bassinger's Stargirl appear on Earth Prime. But for the first duo crossover, likened to that of when Barry first went to Supergirl's Earth, for that mini crossover all of those years ago when he was wearing that tachyon device, if you guys remember, I think it would be more interesting to see Barry on the set of Stargirl in a whole new place. And I've said a similar thing before with if there was ever a Black Lightning crossover with the Flash, because a lot of people were fans of Black Lightning's interactions with Barry in Crisis on Infinite Earths. I would rather see the Flash go to Freeland first. I just think it's more of an interesting idea to get out of Central City in terms of like these mini crossovers, because we always see the Flash in Central City in the show, obviously. And at the same time, talking about crossovers, from her own desires, she would actually be more eager for a Supergirl crossover, because she thinks that both characters would be this dynamic duo that would be awesome. But as far as Supergirl and provisional plans, there's nothing yet. Whereas with the Flash, as she said, there were some discussions in place. But I would honestly really love to hear your ideas for a Stargirl and Flash crossover, as it seems likely in Stargirl Season 2. So yeah, just dump me all of your ideas down in the comments below, because Stargirl is exploring characters we really haven't seen in the Arrowverse before. And, you know, just seeing Barry team up against people possibly like the Injustice Society in a future season, or God knows who, I mean, that just makes me excited. But let's move on to other details of the Justice Society of America within the Stargirl show, and of course their enemies, the Injustice Society, of which have actually been teased in the Stargirl trailers in this battle. If you guys remember from the trailer at what is likely to be the JSA headquarters. Now, if you've been watching my breakdowns for these trailers, which I'll leave linked in the cards above, or maybe a playlist or something like that, just in case you haven't seen them, I did detail these characters already, so this is a little bit of old news when it comes to the JSA lineup, consisting of Wildcat, Dr. Midnight, and Hourman, and then with the Injustice Society lineup, including members like Tigress, Brainwave, Icicle, Dragon King, and Sportsmaster. But within the article, Jeff Johns and Brec Bassinger went over a bit more detail, which should get some of you excited for the potential that this show actually has with a couple of characters, and just a larger world building that this means, and how that can be explored with these following teasers. So after talking about where the series picks up with the deaths of the original JSA team, leading up to Courtney and her fellow teen heroes to fill that void, which, you know, was very obvious from the trailers, so don't worry about spoilers there. I mean, this is all in the article anyway. They go on to mention Green Lantern and the J. Garrick Flash. Now, it goes on to say that while the series won't be spotlighting Alan Scott's Green Lantern or J. Garrick's Flash, that doesn't mean that those characters won't be showing up through the series, showing audiences glimpses of the previous team, with Jeff Johns even hinting at even more potential with those characters and stories in the future of Stargirl. And if you guys remember as well, we already saw from the trailer these characters in that picture that Courtney Whitmore finds of the original JSA. So Jeff Johns goes on to say that Green Lantern and Flash are spoken of, and they exist in the JSA. There's a picture of them in the first episode, and there's plans in the future for things, but Jay Garrick and Alan Scott, to me, are always the elderly statesmen. They're the big heroes of the JSA, and their shadow is very long, and they are great characters. They're a part of the original JSA, and their legacies will be felt throughout the show. I don't want to spoil too much about it, but I can leave it at that. Now, honestly, that last bit gets me into all kinds of speculation, with him saying that their legacies will be felt throughout the show. So does that mean that we could see the mantles of the Flash and maybe even Green Lantern being kept up, just like how Courtney Whitmore is being Stargirl, and how we've got the Hourman, number 2 even, and other kids, you know, taking up the mantles of the original JSA in future seasons, or even maybe future episodes? Could we see something of speedsters, or even a new Green Lantern? I mean, that is speculation, but I'm definitely reading into something like that with what Jeff Johns is teasing here in this article. But he went on to say that the series will look back even further as well than the original JSA, establishing the actual 7 Soldiers of Victory as Earth 2's first superhero team, and exploring the history of Stargirl's cosmic staff. So honestly, guys, I think all of this sounds very, very exciting. I mean, I know a lot of you haven't really dived too deep into what Stargirl is about, just because I see a lot of comments saying I haven't really seen too much about this show. I mean, the trailer looked okay, but then the new trailer came out, some and more people thought that it looked great. But from what I'm gathering, the presence of this show doesn't seem to be too greatly on everyone's minds. I mean, maybe that might change with potential more promo material in the next month, because it is releasing in May, so we'll probably be getting a little bit more. The one thing I'm looking forward to with all of these episodes coming with Stargirl is that it's exploring characters which I'm really looking forward to. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the CW and the characters they've explored, but the fact that we're getting into this other territory of Stargirl, Hourman, original JSA members, even though they're kind of all dead now, but exploring them, as I said earlier on in this video, in a more world-building kind of way of the past with Jay Garrick, and then of course Alan Scott Green Lantern. It's just like a much more different corner, but kind of glistening corner to me at least, of these comic book shows that I'm looking forward to outside the typical characters that we've seen in the CW. This is something I really love about Titans, you know, because we get to explore a live action Dick Grayson, as well as Jason Todd, Beast Boy, and stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to say about Stargirl. We're exploring these other characters with a bit of a quality notch up from your typical CW show, since this was originally created by the DC Universe streaming service. So honestly, I just think that this is something to get a bit of hype for, guys. So other than that, let me know your thoughts on everything down in the comments below. Leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. Make sure you're subscribed, or stay subscribed with notifications on, to keep an eye out for my early review of Stargirl's first 3 episodes. But other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a lovely rest of your day, and I'll see you star people, I don't even know what to call you guys, in the next video. Goodbye.